welcome to Pep Talks with Jeanne. I'm your host, Jeanne Pepper. I started doing Pep Talks as a way to inspire you to do intentional acts of kindness and to further the goals of #BlazeItForward. Since its inception, Pep Talks has evolved, and now I use it to interview people actively making a difference in this world through their volunteerism, community service, or careers. My guests are all here because they have dedicated their lives to making this world a better place. Join us as we delve into the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of these truly inspiring and hardworking people. This season, we will be using a panel format in some of our episodes to bring together synergistic guests to discuss topics that weave the social fabric of the world around us. Welcome to another episode of Pep Talks with Jeanne. So we're back at Pep Talks, and now we have not only Mike Auchter with us, but we have Valerie Ousley with us as well. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
Okay, good, because these are both challenging names.
Yes, we know.
Lots of vowels.
Yes, and you are both part of MenAlive, the Orange County Gay Men's Chorus, and we've already had a chance in our previous episode to talk to Mike about his background, his role, his love of death, and not exactly.
No,
but we wanted Valerie here because Valerie was for a very long time a volunteer for MenAlive, and now she is actually on the payroll.
Yes.
And tell us about your position and what you're doing.
I'm currently the executive director of MenAlive and just trying to move us forward and get us out and visibility out in Orange County for the most part. I'm also in charge of the basic operations of MenAlive and making sure that we keep running. With the volunteer board of directors, it's just needed that position for me to just keep everything moving and going.
Yeah, sometimes it's not enough to have volunteers who have real jobs and
Correct.
real lives and all that. Yeah. So now you can do this full time. Mm-hmm. And how are they keeping you busy? What are you doing all day long?
Oh my gosh. So what keeps me the most busy is just actually the chorus operations of emailing the court, new members coming in, getting them put into our portal, answering questions with them, making sure rehearsals run efficiently, working with our music director. That probably takes the most of what I do daily to day. Outside of that, I run the marketing, so I'm working with marketing people, trying to grow our marketing. I'm kind of all over the place, to be honest. Where I'm going, it's like an octopus of what I'm doing. To be honest, I've got many plates in the air spinning, and I'm just trying to keep them all spinning. So every day is different when it comes to today yesterday I was writing contracts for independent contractors to come in, and today I'm here talking to you, and on Wednesday I was talking to PR companies. So I'm just kind of all over the place.
That sounds like a great job.
Yeah, it's fun.
Who wants to do the same thing day in and day out? Like, yes. I don't know, designing cars or
Yes, it's actually really, really fun, and I'm surrounded by amazing people that keep me laughing all the time.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And before we started this episode, you were telling me about your son. Mm-hmm. And I became extremely curious because not only is your son a member of the LGBTQ community, he's also a part of this chorus as well.
Yes.
And he dances.
He does.
And is there anything else of interest maybe about your son?
Well, my son, he doesn't dance as the dancers of MenAlive. He's part of the chorus, which all the members of the chorus that are on stage do chorusography. So they're little adding things to the music and into entertaining little things. And yes, he participates in all of that, which most people would not think is a big deal. But my son was born completely blind, and so he has to learn dance moves by using someone has to basically teach him as like a puppet, like standing behind him using his arms and showing him what the moves are. And then he also has to learn all the music that everyone's learning by print. He has to learn it all by sound. Wow. But he is a baritone in the MenAlive chorus.
Wow.
And loves it. Finally, after all these years of being a part of MenAlive, trying to get him to join, it wasn't his thing, and then one day he just decided he would do it, and I was excited.
How did your son come out to you?
My son's friend technically outed him. My son was in the hospital for a situation that happened in college that he very still mystery, but he was found unconscious in his dorm room. And through all the tests, we found out, we still don't really know what happened, but it looks like he might have had just a little seizure that caused him to shut down for a while. But when he started waking up, some of his friends were visiting him. And one of his friends who was also blind, I had to guide that friend back downstairs to the lobby. And he told me then that he was very worried about Brandon, that he has feelings for Brandon. And so when I went back upstairs to tell Brandon what he had told me, I then just bluntly asked him, Brennan, are you gay? And he looked at me with fear and said yes. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I know you the way you are. Brennan didn't know this at the time. I think I have told him since, but I went into the bathroom and cried, not because he's blind, but because what did I do to make him have that face or not tell me for so long? Like, what did I do? I've been working with MenAlive for 20 years. All of my friends are gay. His godfather's gay. Everybody I know is gay. Why did Brandon fear not to tell me? And
did he ever tell you?
Yeah, he told me I said something really dumb in a car once, and I remember it to this day. He told me about one of his friends in high school that was female transitioning to male. And I said, oh my gosh, everyone seems to be transitioning or gay now. And I can't believe I said that. And at that time, I was hearing more and more of non-binary and all these different things. And it just seemed like everybody in high school, I was listening to more and more. And I didn't mean it negatively, of course. I just meant like, wow, it's more and more. And Brandon took that as negative and then fearful of telling me. Wow. And that's the one thing I did wrong in that. But since then, he understands where that came from and knows that I accept him completely, of course, always have.
Wow, that's so interesting. Was he like a child when that happened, or a teenager?
He was 19.
He was 19 at the time, yeah. Because, my son Blaze had this similar thing. He had overheard me crying after we outed him. We didn't exactly out him. My husband asked him a question about it because he had read something on my son's phone, and my son denied it. But then I was in the room crying because I was so shocked that I was going to have to deal with my son not only being bullied because of what he looked like, but now I had to worry about him being bullied to actually being gay, because he was being teased for being gay on the bus at school. And I don't know if I've told very many people about that, but that was a big fear of mine, because I thought, there's a high likelihood. I think I suspected he was anyway, but when kids were doing it at school, and he came home, as a matter of factly, and said that people were calling him gay on the bus and torturing him, basically. And I didn't say, well, are you gay? I didn't make it an issue, because it's irrelevant when somebody's bullying you. Why? And he said, I just said, okay, well, what do you think about that? And at the time, he didn't say, well, I've been doing A, B, C, and D, which might have led them to believe I was gay. Nothing like that. It was just, there's no rationale for people being hateful to other people.
Right.
There really isn't.
Right.
Even if you don't like something somebody else is doing, it has nothing to do with you. So you don't need to hate somebody for it.
Right.
So that's just your decision that you want to be hateful.
Right.
So yeah, but Blaze always he even wrote a really long essay about it right before he died, about how that was part of what kept him closeted, was believing that it bothered me so much. But I couldn't be farther from the truth, because once I got that out and saw the big picture of everything, I was all about making him feel comfortable with it and understanding that it was not an issue. But it's like those little things
it's the little things you can say that you didn't even mean to say.
Nuances of things, even maybe you looked, away when they said something, or maybe you didn't have your son had a face and that affected you, even though your son didn't probably want you to know he made a face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He looked scared to tell me, and that bothered me. I
But
mean,
that
I didn't
bothered
care,
you.
but I didn't know. People always say, "Oh, moms always know." I didn't know. I honestly did not know. I didn't care. Clearly, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And so, learning that about him, I was more shocked that he hadn't told me, and felt that I did something wrong.
Yeah.
And for that relationship, because we had a close relationship, and of course couldn't understand it.
What a coincidence, though. I mean, here you are working 20 years for the OC Gay Men's Chorus, and your son comes out to you all these years later. I don't believe in coincidences.
It so many things about the journey of how everything and my story of being so involved in advocacy just kind of all makes sense. And there's some people that, of course, will say, oh, Brandon was, indoctrinated too early with, gay people being around me. And that's why. Well, that makes zero sense, because straight people make gay people all the time. And so it's just that.
Does it make them straight?
Exactly. So it's just always a funny thing when people think that there could be any influence to change that.
Right.
That's just ridiculous.
Because I indoctrinated my son.
Yes.
And that's why. Yeah.
And people have really, truly believed that. There are people that think that Brandon being too influenced by it and not having straight people around him is the cause. Well, that's just, those people just need to go get educated.
Well, yeah, but it is fascinating, though, the first thing I asked you was, I don't know how to sensitively ask this, but how did he know he was gay? I mean, how did he fall in love with men if he couldn't see them? But apparently that's not the only thing.
Well, clearly
that makes you gay, right?
Being visual has nothing to do with
nothing to do with it, which is actually kind of reassuring.
It is.
It's very reassuring.
Yeah. I mean, it runs. Right? Some people believe it runs in families. I think there's some scientific beliefs behind that. I don't. We do have.
We're a good case study for it in my family.
Yeah, we are too. We have We have trans in our family. We have other gay cousins and people that in our family that I think are gay that have never felt like they should say that they are, but we've always kind of felt that they are older people, and so it definitely runs in our family, and so I think that's what it is. Personally,
yes,
I do,
clearly,
and I'm okay with it. His cousin is trans, and
well, there you go,
and we're good.
Yeah,
we're very good.
Yeah.
What was the new word? Nibbling.
I just learned that word. Didn't know that word. Ran into my nibbling, not knowing how to introduce them, because I would wanted to say niece, because that's what she was. Now they are my nibbling, and so they were the ones that educated me on that word.
Okay, so this is your niece, who's now not your nephew, but your nibbling,
right? Okay. It's transitioning. So is a nibbling.
When the nibbling becomes the nephew, do you not call them nibbling anymore?
If they choose to have a pronoun of he and wants to do that, absolutely. But right now they are using the pronoun they, and so they remain my nibbling. And it's just a general word for niece or nephew that are transitioning.
Oh.
And I didn't know that myself until just this year.
We need all kinds of new words now for things. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very proud to be so accepting, and it's not even a big deal. It was just okay, cool. Just the hardest part is the pronoun for me, is remembering to respect that.
I had trouble with that too.
It's really, really hard years of calling someone one thing and then learning. But I'm doing my best, and they know that I'm doing my best, and they forgive
all about
me.
Intention.
Yeah, they forgive me when I mess up. Yeah,
good. That's really great. So, this is really interesting to me. You have a son that is gay and blind, and now in the chorus. You're working full time now for this organization. Did you ever think that you could be this involved in this community? As I'm assuming you're a heteronormative female.
Yes. No. It's like I said, that where I am now, and I look back at the whole story, it's oh my gosh, it just all makes sense. It started off in high school, being the dramatic vocal music student, and realizing that my friends didn't have my same rights back in 1992 and 93, 94.
Oh, okay.
Understanding that, wait, what? You don't have the same rights just because of that? Knowing that they were not out themselves, and they confided in me, but they weren't out to their families or anything. My very good friend Mark was the student that decided to come out in high school and started the first gay alliance group in high school, and I got fruit cocktail thrown at me on a daily basis when I walked down the school because I was considered a fruit fly because I was his friend.
I've never heard that before.
Yes.
That's probably not something new either.
Fruit
I've
fly.
never heard it.
Yeah.
And being thrown fruit cocktail and being sticky, it didn't make me mad. It made me just say, oh, I'm proud to be his friend. And then finding out that students spray painted the FAG word on my house, my parents' house, and knowing that my dad painted it before my friend Mark ever saw that made me just realize that my dad was the one that kind of helped me be who I am and be so accepting. And I just started becoming an advocate from a very early age, making sure that the underdog was the one that got the same rights and making sure all of that. So then when we learned about MenAlive, Vince, who my best friend talking about, who's now my son's godfather, Vince joined MenAlive first. And it just made sense for me to join it too. He was going to be a singer.
You joined at the same time your best friend from high school
He sang in one concert, and I was there supporting him and watching him. And then after that one concert that he sang in, I became a volunteer.
Oh, okay. So you're part of the Hearts Alive group?
Right.
Okay.
And then I became the founder asked me if I could do costumes. And I knew how to sew in straight lines for quilting, but I didn't know how to do like major stuff. So I said I would do my best. And then 9 years later, I was doing, for 9 years, I did costumes for MenAlive. That was what I did for 9 years.
Like you can sew like a serious costume? From going from just being able to sew straight?
I can hot glue and staple like nobody knows.
But sewing machine too, right?
I can sew.
Okay.
I cannot do patterns, but I can put things together and I can make it on 20 feet perspectives is amazing magic.
Remember, up on stage.
So they're not perfect, but
oh gosh, no.
But they were.
Neither of the
Nobody's
costumes.
complaining.
If you ever go see, one of the things that's really interesting, sidetrack from it, when Brandon gets to go backstage a lot on different things, and he gets to go feel costumes and stuff. And he got to go to Seagersom during one of the costumes and feel it. He was like 7 or something. And all those costumes were just horribly made. I couldn't believe up close. They're stapled and clipped and glued and everything. Because you think about it, they have to make them work for so many different people. So then I'm like, when I became costume manager, I'm like, I can do this. I can staple, I can glue, we'll make it work. And no one knows. Yeah. So yeah, I can do costumes.
I love that.
Don't ask me to do anything for you personally, but sure, I can do a costume.
So like they buy costumes and you modify them, right?
Right. Or I can do like simple stuff, nothing crazy. But I did it for 9 years and we got through. I mean, some of our great shows, people would never know what is really behind those costumes and how we made those work. But yeah, we made them work. And so then after that, the president at the time was like, have you ever thought about joining the board? And I was like, sure. And then I just kept kind of climbing that nonprofit ladder. And
I'm all about nonprofit. I'm living the life here.
That's
no profit at all.
And that's how it all happened.
What can I say? It's there's something to be said for people that just do things because it's their passion.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And I'll keep doing it for as long as it makes people happy.
And it fulfills you too. So yeah, I get
does.
so much more out of MenAlive than people realize that I do a lot. I definitely do a lot for MenAlive throughout the years.
Yeah. But
what I get back has always been so rewarding for me because I know that we're truly finding community. That's the most important thing in the world is community. Making sure that people find spaces, because I think, there's a lot of debate on the problems with mass shootings and all this stuff. But if you look at the common core, some could debate, we don't have a gun problem, we have a lonely problem. And the loneliness of people that email us at 1:00 in the morning looking for how do we join you tells me more about them before they even come through the doors. So finding those people and making sure that they aren't treated bullied or not, or they finding somewhere that they can just be who they are is so rewarding for me, because I'm watching them walk in and be fearful of, okay, I'm, first day here and look at all these people and I kind of want to walk home, introducing them. And then by the next week, already seeing them, they're taking pictures with people online and they're already going out to dinner and they're already in this group. And it's just, that's how what MenAlive is. They are a family from the moment you walk in, and it's truly fun to watch and it's great. And I can honestly say I have 100 gay friends.
Phenomenal. What is your son's name?
Brandon.
Have you met Brandon?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Does he know what you look like?
No.
No,
I
so
don't
you've
think
never
so.
let
No.
him do the
Well,
whole
he
hands on
didn't
your
know,
face?
and he hasn't asked, and I haven't really offered.
Is
It
that
just,
an option though for people?
It
that are
doesn't-
blind?
It's
No.
that's funny that's movies. People don't do
Yeah.
that. Brandon doesn't do that.
I know. I'm curious because I started to think about that. Like, I've never had a blind friend.
No, most people
I've
don't.
never really been around blind people. My father was an optometrist. And so, which is kind of interesting. My dad used to
It's all
always
about
say,
sight.
don't play with pencils. That was like the big, takeaway from my dad, let me tell you.
Brandon does
Yeah.
not touch people. He doesn't know anything. Like sometimes I'll ask him, he'll hear things about people and he'll say, why do they say that about them? Or why did if the only way he'll know someone's a different race or anything if they have an accent. If they don't have an accent, he has no clue. He does not get, Asian. He has no idea. I told him one time that one of our friends was Asian. He had no idea. And he was like, really? I didn't know that. No idea. He doesn't know if people are fat, tall, skinny, short, black, brown. He knows nothing. He only goes by who they are and how they treat him.
Oh, that is really interesting.
He doesn't know.
I mean, wouldn't that be something if we were all a little blind?
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from him about that.
I
Yes.
mean, it would be so helpful. In so
We
many
rely
ways.
so much on judgment, visual
Yes.
judgments.
Right? A
and
visual
he
judgment of people
doesn't have
is-
that.
He has no clue.
So like pure, like just
And
like
he's interested sometimes about that. He's very curious about those types of things. And I have a story my husband will probably kill me for telling you, but I want to tell you. My husband was born with a cleft palate. And Brennan had no idea. But he would hear my husband, Kevin, talking about his looks and how he's got his own insecurities in regards to his looks. And he would hear us talk about the scar and this and that. And one day, Brennan was probably, 13 or 14. He was like, Mom, like, how bad is it? Like, what is, and I go, what? And he was like, what is, and I said, oh my gosh, people don't even notice it. You can't even see it. It's just him. It's his insecurity. It's something that he has, but no, it's not. And he had made this out to be in his head, something like was just this horrific thing, but he had no idea what it even was or what it meant, and had to like try to explain it to him.
so
But
fascinating.
that's why Brennan's like so confused why people put these judgments or these things on people, because it doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter what you look
Wow.
like to him.
It's so interesting. Okay, I would really like to have you bring your son
course.
back here. And I'd like, if he's open to it, I would love to open this up for discussion for people that are really clueless like me, that have 1,000 questions and are curious about what it means to be colorblind,
Yeah.
like really colorblind. Like, what is that like? And how does that change your experience as a human? Because there's also things about being blind that make it harder to live in this world. And
Yeah.
it's so much harder to be independent, because we have not designed this world for people that are blind.
No.
I know I've recently, actually, I think my producer brought it to my attention about how we make this world accommodating for people that are blind and people that are deaf. But what if this world was made for them and it didn't accommodate people that could see or hear? What would it be like for us?
Well, I'm sure Brian would love to talk about that, because I think that's what he
Yeah.
does a lot in school. We live in an ableist society.
Yes, yes.
And he talks about that a lot. That's a lot
Yeah.
of his focus. And that's what he goes to school for, is teaching people that, all the things that he has to do and should do. But he's amazing at that.
But his
Yeah.
perspective is so amazing too, because the blind people that I've known before have all become blind later in life for a variety of
but
reasons.
it's different as a...
Completely different,
his
because they have frames
experience.
of reference.
I
for
know.
things.
That's what's so fascinating to me
Yeah.
about this is, how this changes the way you think about humanity even. I mean, I would just love to know, like, his thoughts on humanity. Like, are we
got a
good?
lot.
Are we good? Like, what is he... Because it's got to be a feeling for him, like an overall feeling based on his life experience. Like, are people good? You've probably kept him fairly sheltered, I imagine, from people that aren't good. I mean,
I try, but Brandon's a little activist himself. He's my little shadow. I mean, he really wants to fight too, and he believes big in. So he's his own advocate for so many things. Like he's everyone thinks their children are amazing, but he really is done things that are just shocking that he figures out. And to him, it's not about, wow, look what he can do. It's just like, well, why can't I do it?
Yeah. He's so lucky to have a mom like you.
Yeah, he's really good.
Really
Thank you.
very lucky. I don't know. he has no way of knowing that. But trust me, Brandon, if I was your mom, you would not be as lucky.
I definitely, I watch whenever he goes somewhere, I'm looking at my wares, I'm tracking him on his phone, wherever I'm watching every little step he takes when he goes to different places. When he's at school, I don't watch him. When he's with his friends, I don't watch him. But if he goes to LA or something just to go exploring, I'm watching that phone.
On a bus?
Uber?
Yeah.
Well, he takes Uber access is how he gets places, but it's still very scary to me.
Oh, I would be frightened.
It's very scary. And
wow.
but he's very good at keeping me updated. I just got on my lift. I just got here.
Do you ever secretly follow him?
Never, not once.
Oh wow, you're so much better than me.
It's my anxiety would just go nuts. But no, I've never followed him.
I would be like, he wouldn't know I was there, but I would be there.
No, I want to sometimes. I do, but I don't. Nope.
Oh, you're good. You might need to get an award for that.
I do track his phone. He knows that. I do watch him.
PeppTalks awards for like Mother of the Year. Like
it's hard. Trust me, it's hard.
Wow.
I do panic a lot. Just recently, at a MenAlive event, he got dropped off somewhere, and I didn't know where he got dropped off. And we're on the phone together. I'm like, well, where are you? What do you hear? Do you hear cars? Because you should hear cars. I don't hear cars. Do you hear people? There's a big group of people here. No, I don't hear people. And my phone was not working, and his location wasn't sharing. And I'm going, okay, I need to find him. What do? I know he's safe, but he doesn't know where he's at. And how am I supposed to find him when the phones weren't working?
Yeah, what do you do?
And he was literally, he was supposed to be dropped off at the Church of the Foothills, which is where we rehearse. And he was dropped off at the high school, which is down the street in the front of it. So it was quiet. It was a weekend. There was no one there. Of course, I found him, but there was a panic I had a 10-minute panic, which is my biggest fear of him like being dropped off somewhere and me not being able to find him. So I'm so thankful for the iPhone, for the Find Your Phone person.
But when really they don't work, a game changer.
Scary. Mm-hmm. It's very scary.
But what a game changer though, because like when you were growing up in the 80s, we didn't have cell phones.
I know.
We didn't have. Geez.
Yeah, and he has to go all by his sound of what he hears, where he is, so I can give me the clues to figure out where he is, and that's what we do. I'm constantly looking, where are you? And okay, you got dropped off, because Ubers always drop you off in random places.
Yeah,
and I have to then find him.
Wow. Does he use technology to help him walk around also?
Yeah.
Like
just he uses his maps through his iPhone.
So it tells him walk a little farther, go left, like it tells him.
And technology is huge for him. He uses it for everything. But he uses regular iPhone and all that.
We could spend all day talking about Brandon.
I know.
And that's really that wasn't why we're here, but hey, why not? I'll talk about anything of interest.
Intriguing, yes.
But it is wonderful that you've been so much a part of the evolution of the MenAlive program. In fact, you're changing the name. You're trying to move away from the MenAlive.
Well, we started the discussion. Our branding is stable for the moment. Mm-hmm. We are going to stick, but I explained that in before that our founder Rich Cook picked MenAlive and de-emphasized the gay part of the organization, because in the year 2000 in Orange County,
you couldn't be gay.
No, and it's certainly not. Who would have the courage to go join something that's labeled gay, or go to a performance of something that's labeled gay? Wow. So this is what he explained to me, But the times have changed, and though I still think there are pockets, in fact, I know there are pockets of Orange County that are stuck back in those times. Mm-hmm. And we do everything we can to reach, because every one of those communities, every one of those gated cities or little municipalities, there are gay folks in there that are struggling and that could benefit from what MenAlive can do. And before they get to crisis, and people do get to crisis proportions, we're a family that can help them.
Mm-hmm. And I think the word MenAlive, and even though there's a story of why it was called MenAlive, but we don't have time to tell that story. And so right off the bat, MenAlive is already kind of shutting out a large part of the community that needs us, because they read the name and they just assume it's not for them. And they're not realizing that, yes, that's the name that was in why, and we can't have time to tell you the whole reason why, and it's a great name. we don't want it to shut doors for people that think that MenAlive is a men only organization, when that is not at all what MenAlive is. I mean, clearly I'm a member of MenAlive and I am not a gay man, and there are other people that are in MenAlive that are not gay men. So it's not. So that's a little bit of why we want to transition that name, and not necessarily get rid of it completely, but kind of maybe focus on a name that is more of welcoming to anyone learning about us, that they would feel welcomed from the moment they heard about us.
Yeah. People in the LGBTQ community have found greater rights, greater protection, more acceptance, I think, probably in the last 10, 20 years than it was. I mean, definitely since Blaze was born in 1998. Things are much better. But what are some of the bigger challenges, do you think, facing your community now?
Well, certainly the existence of homophobia still.
Yes.
And they're, in high school they threw fruit cups, but, they throw much more hurtful things in. And, I've heard people, I'm not a native. I moved here in 2018, and I came from Detroit. And when you say that, it conjures different images of things. Yeah. Okay. But in Detroit, our LGBTQ center is on a main street surrounded by restaurants with a coffee shop in the lobby and meeting rooms, galleries. It's lovely.
Wonderful.
In Detroit. In Orange County, now granted it's a county and not a city, we have a building in a not so great neighborhood of Santa Ana that is bursting at the seams. I volunteer there once a week. I have since 2018. The same time I joined MenAlive, I started working with that group, and I'm just a volunteer there. But it's shocking to me how a county with the resources that we have, and with the education level that we have, there are still pockets of violence. There's still pockets of denial, of erasure of LGBTQ people. Yeah. And, I'm of a certain age. I was at the tail end of the AIDS scare generation. Right. I lost many friends to AIDS. But the challenges are different now. And getting back to the challenge, what is our biggest challenge? We are the only LGBTQ chorus that is county-based. Every other one has an urban center. So LA, Detroit, New York, there's an urban center, urban identity. San Diego, they get support in some way, shape, or form from the city, that whether it's a venue to sing in or financial support, other things. And they can integrate much more closely with the programs, children's programs, for example. Yeah. And that's a huge part of outreach. That in a county like Orange County, how many school systems do we have? How many school boards, hostile school boards, are there?
All.
Right. So we have now 3.2 million people or 3.1 million people in 30 plus cities that we as a chorus serve. Yeah. We provide a chosen family for that many people seeking community and support. Yeah. And in addition to performing, and it's reaching those people. So how do we serve a whole county? How do we reach the people that need us? How do we educate the people that don't need us? And
that's always the biggest challenge.
Yeah, and that's part of the transformation of the county to becoming an example. The Samueli Foundation right now their objective is to transform be a guiding light, the model for the world for healthcare. Yeah. And that's kind of one of their top stated things. They have other objectives, obviously. Right. And I look at that as a model for MenAlive. Right. When people say where is it most welcoming for gay people, where do gay people feel best recognized, valued, I'd want somebody to say sometime in the future, Orange County, California. Mm-hmm. that's a big.
This is a great place to live. I mean, it's clean. We have great health care.
There's so many positive things.
Wonderful
but
things here.
I tell this story that we did a holiday concert a couple years ago in Lake Forest.
Yeah.
And I literally had two people at two different performances come up to me and say, you're because there were some free tickets given out. So, and they were, you're the first gay people I've ever met in person. I see them on TV, but I don't know. You're really cool, this is in Lake Forest in Orange County,
yeah. Well, that's
California.
where I raised my children.
So when you still have that level of detachment from our existence, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And there are gay people that live in Lake Forest. I mean, John Mitchell, who's a huge volunteer.
Oh, yeah.
We love John.
He takes care of the park for me because he lives right over there. He always tells me when things are amiss. I mean, it's not like you're not there.
It's a big job. So that's the challenge. And
you could walk around with like a big, like, I don't know,
like sandwich board and
a big rainbow on your head. I mean, some way
he drives a car that has a rainbow on it.
That's good, but you need to drive around in Lake Forest. Like, see you more. You're not visible enough.
My visibilities are probably hard. Acceptance,
visibility.
Is the big acceptance for everyone, not just gay people. The whole alphabet.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's very true. I mean, but this is a very diverse county. There's a lot of different people here, a lot of competing interests here. But there does seem to be we have like these agrarian roots of like farming and agriculture that I think, from my understanding, plays a part in the history of this county as a place that rejected immigration because it was taking jobs away from the Anglo people that started the farming here.
That's a core. That is an absolute core. That attitude of
But that was 100 years ago.
Yes. But it's an attitude of scarcity. If you get yours, I'm not going to get mine.
That's exactly what it is.
It's at the core of funding us nonprofits. It's at the core of, jealousy of neighbors. It's, that... Some people call it fairness. Why should I give you special consideration for being gay? These are all arguments that come from a place of scarcity. And the reality is that this county and this place where we live there's plenty for all.
Yes.
There is absolutely
There definitely
plenty
is.
for all.
And I think that is a really, you reach a very good point, because in my mind, abundance has been a driving factor in my own philanthropy. Mm-hmm. And if you don't feel abundant, then you're more likely to not want to share with others your abundance.
Right. And if you don't feel.
If you don't feel abundant, then you don't, you're not as kind. You're not as caring. You're not as giving. It's kind of like being in a survival mode. People in survival mode are not worrying about whether or not the people around them are happy.
And I think of Orange County as bubble tea. Everybody's got, and if you're comfortable in the bubble and you protect your bubble, that's the scarcity. And we have gated communities here. We have, little cities.
Yeah.
And people, again, I moved here in 2018. People keep to themselves.
Yeah.
And crossover is exciting. We're one of those groups that we don't have our own bubble. Mm-hmm.
You're inclusive.
Bubbles.
Yeah, you're inclusive. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to see you at the inclusive Passover Seder that we do.
That'd be very cool.
We have people from all different, organizations that join us. The NAACP was with us. We had Sikhs. We've had people from UCI, from the law school, all different ethnicities.
Wonderful.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a big, happy group that meets to do. I don't know if you know what a Passover Seder is, but
I do.
Oh, you do?
My husband's Jewish.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
So maybe we'll come to your house for a Passover Seder then. So I'd love to see how we could become more inclusive with, and that's why I've joined Radiant Healthcare, and because it's a primarily helping people in the LGBTQ community, but it can help anybody. It's a clinic. It's it's for everyone. So I like that. I like the idea that that we can all help each other. We all bring something to the table,
Yes.
and we can be abundant with it and share with people that have less. So, all wonderful things. Is there anything that you want to tell me about that we haven't talked about yet? Talk
Just
amongst yourselves.
get the word out. We
Yes.
are much more than a men's chorus. We have a group non-performing members that we do volunteer work. We what else do we do? We do so much.
You do community service. I mean, Valerie was
Yeah.
part
Yes.
of the Hearts.
Hearts Alive.
Hearts
Yeah.
Alive.
That was for years. I still consider it the part of my job outside of the ED is still volunteering for the organization. Outside of just what I get paid to do, I'm
Yeah.
still going to be those things. But one of the other things that MenAlive I feel does really well is that besides the concerts that we put on and all the time we put on these concerts, we have a social manager that does a really good job. His name is James. He does a really, really good job of keeping things going. So it's not just a Tuesday to Tuesday for those people that are just needing more in their life. There's all these events that we do outside of the normal rehearsal that creates that community and that family bond. And I think that is so important for organizations that sometimes just meet on their regular day or do their regular work. We open that up to be much more of just regular life. That MenAlive, who doesn't want to go see Wicked with everyone? Let's go. Everyone can come. Or who wants to go play games on this night? Or who wants to go do these? And those are the things that create the community, that create the family, that continues to keep members that have been in MenAlive from the moment they start. They don't stop.
Yeah.
They just continue coming back and continue being part of the organization.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really cool.
Yeah, it's a connectivity.
It's that. And so we've had wonderful social managers throughout the years, and
Yeah.
we really focus on that, making sure that it's not just a once a week get together, learn your music. There's so much more to that organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Interesting. I feel like I've been a social manager. I feel like people just show up all the time here. But I'm just so glad that we got you both in here. And we want to get the word out. You have a big concert coming up on May 17th in honor of my birthday.
Yes.
And it will be at the venue,
Irvine Barkley
the
Theater.
Irvine Barkley Theater, which is where MenAlive.
It's more or less our home theater
Home
around
theater?
here.
Okay.
Just a little aside, Orange County is a difficult place because the venues just aren't available for our size of performance and our types of performance. So we are challenged that way. So but we've performed more at the Irvine Barkley Theater than pretty much anywhere else, I think.
We've performed in many places, but
That sounds wonderful. You guys are just all about sharing the abundance of your lives, your love of music, of performing, of being caring to other people and kind. And I am so impressed with both of you. I'm so thrilled that I actually met you. Don't remember meeting you on Monday.
I couldn't go.
You weren't there, but I did meet Mike at the cleanup at the Borrego Park event. So that's a shout out to those people that have not been attending those. If you go there, you get to meet me. And sometimes you get to be on my show if you're super cool, super abundant, have something important to say. You get to come here and be on my show. And I'm so thrilled. I got you both here. And I have two new friends that are inviting me to go to shows that I cannot wait to see.
We're so thankful for you and everything you're doing
Yes.
for
Oh,
the
thank
community.
you.
Yes.
Thank you so
work.
much. Yeah, this is important. My purpose here is to recognize people that are making this world a better place. That is basically, I feel like that is my calling because not enough people are interested in the heroes and the people that do all the hard work. They're interested in the people that do terrible things, and we're going to change that.
I hope so.
We
love
have
that.
to change that. I can't see another hideous, ugly person on television that kills people as the focus of media attention. I'm so
I
tired
agree.
of that. I want to see beautiful people doing beautiful things that inspire all of us to be better, and that's what you're doing. And I thank you for that.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
It's been so wonderful having Valerie Ousley with us. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay. And Mike Auchter with us.
Yep.
Got it right this time.
Well, ocgmc.org is our website. Please join us on that website. You'll see everything that we're doing. And we have our concert on May 17th. Be watching for that. It's iconic to the men. So we did last year Iconic with Cher and Madonna and Beyonce,
Britney.
all the one-name female artists.
And now we're going to do the one male
Yes.
artist, like
There's
Elvis.
astonishingly
Well, not
few
one
of those.
Freddie
two
Mercury and
names.
Elton John and
yeah.
George Michael and
Right.
all the hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the following year we'll do the one man names, right? Like,
Yeah, well, if we can dig them up,
If
yeah,
you can
we
dig
will.
up
Elvis
Prince.
is good, yeah. But
Elvis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is there anybody else? Liberace.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
How can we
goodness.
forget Liberace?
We do dress that way. No, we don't.
Well, thank
But-
you both again for being here. Thrilled, and we're going to catch you both at the shows that I plan to attend.
Yay.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you so
All
much.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Hashtag Blaze It Forward is a campaign my family started in 2018 after our son Blaze was murdered. Hashtag Blaze It Forward provides the inspiration to thousands of people to repair the world with intentional acts of kindness. If you would like to learn more about Blaze and how you can make a difference, check out www.blazebernstein.org or join our Facebook group at hashtag Blaze It Forward. You can also check out my website for this podcast at www.PeppTalksWithJeannie.com. There you can follow along with my podcasting adventures and learn more about my fascinating guests and their passion projects. I would like to thank all of the volunteers who help make my philanthropic endeavors a reality. Today, that includes my producer, Eli Moskowitz, all of the volunteer crew members who join us, and a special thank you to my son, Jay Bernstein, for the original theme song you hear at the beginning and ending of each show. This has been another episode of Pep Talks with Jeannie. Until next time, keep on making this world a better place.